Hey, what's going on, Who Dat Nation? And welcome to another edition of the State of the Saints podcast, where we talk New Orleans Saints. My name is TJ Jones. Thank you for checking out the podcast. I really do appreciate it. Well, Who Dat Nation, Saints players didn't waste any time getting in trouble, did they? According to NOLA.com, David Onyemata, defensive tackle of the New Orleans Saints, has been arrested for marijuana possession. Now, this is according to NOLA.com. David Onyemata, Elmwood apartment was raided by narcotics officers after a package addressed to the defensive lineman. That's right, Who Dat Nation. David Onyemata got marijuana mailed to his house. Wow. Also, according to NOLA.com, a U.S. Customs and Border Protection agent seized the package in Buffalo, New York on January 28 and contacted the sheriff's office. Local authorities conducted a controlled delivery the next day, allowing the marijuana parcel to be delivered to Onyemata apartment. So the sheriff's office put a tracking device on it. Onyemata got the package and he was arrested. Now, he wasn't detained because of the amount that he had. He only had enough for personal use. He didn't have enough to distribute. Now, if he would have had enough to distribute, it would have been a felony, and David Onyemata would have been looking at some serious jail time. But he only got a summons, and of course, he'd have to pay a fine. I don't think anything too much is going to come of this. I'm interested to see what the New Orleans Saints organization and head coach Sean Payton are going to do. Now, we all know that Sean Payton is a no-nonsense type coach. He don't take nonsense in the locker room, and he don't take nonsense off the field. Now, we all know in the past, when Joseph Morgan, the wide receiver, the speedy wide receiver of the New Orleans Saints a couple years back, he got into trouble. He got cut from the team. We know about other players in the past that have said all kind of controversial things, like Akeem Hicks, who's now playing for the Chicago Bears. He ended up getting traded to the Patriots because of some comments. We know about Brandon Cooks ended up getting traded because the Saints had a blowout victory against the Rams, and Brandon Cooks didn't have any catches, and Brandon Cooks' agent came out and said that Brandon Cooks wanted to be traded, and Sean Payton gladly obliged. And lastly, we know about Junior Gillette, the video that went viral of him whooping his girlfriend with a belt on the beach, and a couple more females, and he ended up getting cut because of the situation. Sean Payton is no nonsense. Now, there have been cases where Sean Payton has turned the other way. I think about with Willie Snead. Willie Snead a couple years back was arrested for drunk driving, and Sean Payton kept him on the team. He stayed on the team, but he wasn't the same player. The Saints didn't really rely on him as much as they once did. I seen a huge decline in some of his play packages, man. I barely even knew Willie Snead was actually in the game, man. So Sean Payton will keep you on the team, but he will show you that he is disappointed in you. And this is really, really sad, man, because David Onyemata is a huge part of the Saints' resurgence of defense, man. I mean, we know about Sheldon Rankins. We know about Tyler Davidson, but David Onyemata kind of came on. He was drafted by the Saints, and he was one of those guys who had a lot of raw talent coming out of college. He was really, really strong, but he still needed some work. And the New Orleans Saints defensive coaching staff worked with him, and I think he's a finished product, man. He really produced this season. He had 21 tackles and he had 4.5 sacks. And he really did step up in the divisional round of the playoffs against the Philadelphia Eagles and the Los Angeles Rams in the NFC Championship game when Sheldon Rankins went down with a torn Achilles. So David Onyemata is a big, huge part of the Saints defense, and I think he's going to be a huge part going forward because Tyler Davidson is a free agent. He's unrestricted. And me personally, I don't think the Saints are going to sign him back. Tyler Davidson is a good player, but I don't think that he's worth the Saints re-signing him again. I think that he will end up playing somewhere, and I think that he has a couple more years in the league. He can make a couple paychecks, but I don't think that the Saints are going to pay Tyler Davidson. So in comes David Onyemata. So I know this is very disappointing to Sean Payton. Do I think that Sean Payton is going to cut David Onyemata because of this? No, I don't think so. The good thing about all of this is the fact that he is in the offseason right now. I mean, he did this in the offseason, so time will go by and people are going to forget about this situation. But we know the NFL not going to forget about it. He probably is going to be suspended for a couple games because we all know that the NFL is not going to tolerate this type of stuff, especially when it comes to the Saints, right? He'll probably miss maybe 2 to 4 games because he violated the NFL's personal conduct policy. You know, the NFL, they do not want any negativity coming their way, especially when it comes to the players. So I think David Onyemata is going to be suspended, but lucky for him, he's going to be a Saint for the 2019 season. And this has been the State of the Saints podcast. Check out the State of the Saints podcast on Facebook. Go to facebook.com, search the State of the Saints podcast. I keep you up to date on all the latest Saints news. Also, subscribe to the YouTube channel, youtube.com, search the State of the Saints podcast, SOTS Podcast 8 on Twitter, and previous episodes are available on iTunes, Spotify, and iHeartRadio.com. Till next time, hey, 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 hey.
Smoke weed every day.
Oops, I mean, who that?